everyone, it's your vegan friend Tonia Carrier, and with me today I have a very special guest. I'm very excited so that he can share his story on my small channel. I just want to say thank you everybody for clicking on this video. I'm going to be sharing it to a lot of Facebook pages because the next few minutes are all about my guest so that he can share his story and also tell you, all the vegans out there and all the activists and people who are looking for a way to get active and something that they can do at home, unfortunately on lockdown, and a way to help get involved. But this time is all about my guest here, Malcolm Klimowicz, Klimowicz from Toronto, an awesome animal rights activist who is going to share his story today with me. So thank you guys for being here. And hi Malcolm, thank you for being here too. Thank you. So can you tell us a little bit about like yourself and like how you got started with being an animal rights activist, please?
Yeah, it's a short, interesting story, but yeah, I originally started being a vegetarian, I think, because all my girlfriends I'd ever had were vegetarian, and then I had a vegan girlfriend, my mom's vegetarian, so it's always been part of my life. I started learning about, animal cruelty, animal exploitation of factory farms, and the horrible things that happens to animals, and that's when I kind of changed my worldview to being vegan and also being an activist, because I realized, just stopping myself from eating animal products and consuming them wasn't enough. I had to get other people to do it too, so I started doing activism. I joined a group called the Kitchener, Ontario Animal Liberation Alliance in the town where I was from. We did a bunch of different types of activism, I think mainly around anti-captivity issues, like marine land, against captivity of killer whales and dolphins, this kind of thing. And there was a fur farm right near the town there where I lived, and we used to go protest it quite often. And it occurred to me at some point, like, we used to go protest at the farm, but there's not really anybody there to protest to other than the farmer. How far will that get things? We had a few news stories coming out, so I ended up watching a documentary called Inside Fur. It was a bunch of Norwegian activists, and they would go into, I think they said, hundreds of fur farms. This country has one of the most fur farms in the world. They would just document what they saw, the injuries the animals had from rubbing their heads on the bars and attacking each other, being malnourished, the really unsanitary conditions that they had to live in. The cages are all dirty and everything. And I had seen some videos from Ontario of people going into these fur farms, and I thought that, in addition to the End Fur Farming campaign that we were running at the time, we needed some footage from inside to show the public, because when people see what's happening in their own backyards, they take it more personally and they want to be involved more to help these animals that are, not even that far from people's homes, maybe a few miles, a couple minutes drive. And I started going on to different fur farms in Ontario. They were all mink farms, so I visited 5 with my camera, and I just walked around the property. Basically, I didn't damage anything, I didn't vandalize stuff, I didn't rescue or release any animals. There was no theft or anything like that. It was just me walking around filming, and I made a big report up with Animal Justice, which I handed over to the SPCA, that's the Animal Welfare Organization or authorities in Ontario. And I gave all the footage to the media, so the media ran a ton of stories on it. And unfortunately, the SPCA didn't prosecute, but I had seen other animal welfare authorities in other countries, after these types of investigations, they would prosecute the farmers. But unfortunately, we see in Ontario, the Ontario government actually passed Ag-Gag Bill 156 to stop undercover investigations like the ones I was doing, these public inquiries or public inspections, whatever you want to call them. Those are now, I guess they're already kind of illegal, but there's more criminal penalties for them now after the bill. And I ended up getting charged by 3 of the 5 farms that I exposed for animal cruelty. And my animal rights lawyer, Gary Grill, is one of the best animal rights lawyers in the world. He also defended Anita Crank from the Toronto Pig Save. She was giving water to a thirsty pig, and she got charged with mischief, and he got her off. It was a big pig trial was a big deal, so he's defending me. Anyway, so 2 of the farms, the charges got downgraded to a trespassing ticket, and there's still 1 farmer that's after me. In addition to these charges, though, I was also civilly sued by one of the fur farmers I beat in criminal court. So they actually wanted to come after me and take all my GoFundMe money that I raised to defend myself. They wanted money for like mental distress for people, for me going on their farm, for paying for security equipment, this type of stuff. The whole situation ended up being pretty ridiculous. Like this is really, a lot of time, a lot of effort for the police and the politicians and the fur farmers to spend, basically politically persecuting me for being an activist and just showing the Canadian public what happens to these animals on farms. But if you think about it, mink are aquatic animals. They actually have webs on their feet, so they can swim. They spend about 60% of their time in the water. But on fur farming, they have to be in a wire cage. They never get to touch the ground. They can't do natural behaviors like burrowing. I know I've seen them on some of the farms I went to. You can see them engaging in repetitive behavior. So they're swaying back and forth in the cages, like repeatedly, all day long, driven mad by captivity. People think, they might be domesticated animals because they're farmed, but they're actually wild animals. They're not fully domesticated. Pigs, cows, chickens, these animals have been around domesticated to be docile for, thousands of years for people. Fur farming has only been around for about 100 years. So the animal's instinct is still to do all their natural behaviors that they would do in the wild, but, because people want to wear them for a ridiculous clothing decoration to make themselves look really stupid, these animals have to suffer their entire lives.
Yeah. So again, how much trouble did the farmers get in for what they were doing to the animals?
None. So they weren't actually investigated by the SPCA, but that's been a long track record of the SPCA's mandate is not inspecting, complaints or regarding farmed animals. They're more of a cat and dog organization now. I think it's actually been made official now in Ontario that they don't investigate farmed animals anymore. They're strictly only for cats and dogs. They created some other new police division that's not really been tried and tested to handle farm animals. But
it's so crazy to me too, because of course I'm in Michigan, but like I always think, I know we went to ALC. That's where I met you briefly at ALC last year, and like. Our friends were so impressed with the activism that was going on in Toronto. Like we wanted to go out. I mean, if not for COVID, we would have been there numerous times over the summer to participate in a bunch of the different actions and stuff. We were so impressed with the level of activism that's going on there, and to think that the government is going so far backwards with you guys with that gag bill and everything. It's just it's disgusting. It's got to be so infuriating for you.
Yeah, it's very disappointing. I thought they would have gone the other direction. Like we saw Poland, France, and Norway. They had basically the same type of investigations, public inquiries that I did into the fur industry. Exposing the horrors that happen to these animals. They got wounds. We're seeing like dead animals in the cage with other living animals crawling over them. I think some of the worst stuff I saw was the baby kits, which is the baby minks. They're being fed their own like waste. Basically, they're going to the bathroom and piles of food and then sleeping in it and eating it. Like these are, thousands and thousands of animals this is happening to. It's completely unacceptable, completely disgusting. And we saw these other countries actually move towards fur farm bans because of these investigations. But in Ontario, the government, I don't want to say they're corrupt, but they definitely don't care about animals like regular people do, and they're passing these ag-gag bills to stop the public basically from witnessing what's happening to these animals. They created within the bill these places called animal protection zones, but it's basically just anywhere a farm animal is kept. So people now, they can't go onto a farm, slaughterhouse, or even near a slaughter truck and record or document anything that's going on. That's illegal.
Yeah.
When you're ruled by, or what is that saying? When you're ruled by criminals, it's Ontario.
Mm-hmm. Wow, it's infuriating. I don't know what it has to happen, because just the activists just have to think of something else to do, some other way of doing whatever it is they can do, because we're going to get around that. Like they can create whatever laws they want, but eventually people are going to think of something else to do, and like another way to get the message out. And you guys have so many phenomenal activists out there. Like I said, in Toronto, it's really an encouraging place to be, when you're able to get with people like that. So like, where are you guys at right now with the trial and like what's happening? And I really want to like stress how anybody watching who might not be familiar with it, like, again, people we're in COVID land here in America, and like maybe there's somebody that might be able to do a little bit of activism on your behalf. Is there anything that we can do?
So the biggest thing people could do to support me right now, and also to expose the horrors of the fur farm industry in Ontario, is by sharing and watching the trial next week. It's the whole week, all 5 days, 9 to 5, and the trial is being broadcast on YouTube. So there's a YouTube channel that you can go around and share. I guess just to remind people, you're not allowed to film or videotape the trial. That's illegal, I guess. But yeah, share it around. I think, as far as I know, this is the first online animal rights trial in history, or at least in Canada, that I know of. I've never heard of any kind of trial being online like this before. The only other online trial that I saw on the webpage with mine was somebody that murdered 10 people by driving into them with a van, and then you got me just for videotaping, animals on a fur farm. It's very disproportionate.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate. One other comment I'd like to make is that, even though it's me on trial here and being charged with 1 count of break and enter just for filming, we're going to use this trial as an opportunity to put a big spotlight on the fur industry, just like the pig trial did for the Toronto Pig Save, and brought attention to the plight of, pigs and other animals suffering on these slaughter trucks. We have expert witnesses that are going to testify. We have hours of video footage that are recorded that's going to be played live to the public. So, the fur industry, in an attempt to politically persecute and, financially destroy me, is going to end up backfiring against them, because many more members of the public are going to see what's going on, and they're never going to buy fur again.
Yes. Well, and that's why, I'm sorry that you have to go through all this, but that's why it's so incredible that you're going through all of this, is because those, we know from other cases, and like why activists get arrested in the first place purposefully. Not that that was necessarily what you were after, but like, activists every day from different organizations go into places specifically to get arrested, so that they have the opportunity to be on trial, to tell the world what's happening. And so, whether it was your goal to get arrested or not, that's why you're going to be so, like, that's why, I want to thank you so much for that, because that's just a huge spotlight that you're going to be able to share, and a lot of good is going to come out of this.
Yeah, for sure. I wish it was the case, though, that, these people going on to these farms, I don't think everybody intends to be arrested. I think our intent is for the authorities to do something to help the animals in most cases, unless we're trying to physically stop, the murder of animals. But we want the news media to come out and show everybody what's happening to them, so they know, and we want the authorities to stop, change the laws, change the system, what's going on to these animals, because at the end of the day, animals aren't machines, and we need to treat them with dignity and respect, just like anybody.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's the very right not to suffer. I mean, that just seems like it's so simple, it's exactly. Like, so like, so people can watch your trial, which is going to be on YouTube, and I'm going to share this to a bunch of different pages with your information that you have on so far, including, like, is your personal page open, or do you have something that I can link below?
Yeah, my personal page is public, so you can share that as well if you like. There's lots of info in there.
And then you'll of course be sharing all of your YouTube links and stuff like that too, so that they can watch. So in addition to watching and sharing, do you think that there's going to be any other way that people can help out by supporting or writing to anyone, or like, what do you suggest we do if we want to help support you further? I know you have a GoFundMe, so let's talk about that too. If somebody happens, times are rough, but like, if somebody happens to be able to have a few dollars here or there, and they want to send it to Malcolm, that would be awesome. I've done small amounts a couple of times. I'm going to do a little bit more tonight, but if somebody could throw them a few bucks, that would be amazing. I know it would be much appreciated. But in other words, like, sharing, is there a place we could comment, you think, or?
I think the biggest way people could help, not just with my case, but ending, fur farming and the fur industry in general. I know in your country, in the USA, you guys are able to pass bans on the retail sale of fur in cities, so in municipalities.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I know, in Canada, that's not possible legally. They can't really do that, from the lawyers and everybody I've talked to. But if you're able to get involved with banning the retail sale of fur in your city, there's basically blueprints out there on how to do it. If people want to reach out to me, I can set you up with some American animal rights activists, and you can get to work on starting a retail ban in your city. I know some even small towns have passed it recently, so it's not far out of reach. And the more cities that pass it, the more likely it'll be fur farming will be banned on like a state level and national level at some point soon.
That's okay. That's great. That's actually really encouraging for me to do, actually. So thank you. I live in a smaller town. I usually do activism and hang out with a lot of the vegans from the Detroit area, but that's really encouraging for me to do too. So okay, so we will share your links below. I'll share your personal page, your GoFundMe page, and then any kind of links that you have that you think would be helpful to anybody that wants to be interested more, because I would really like people to get involved and like support you because you deserve it, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks everyone. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So I guess we'll like let people go. Hopefully people will watch this and like want to participate and also just get active in any way, of course. But like I was hoping that with watching this video, we would encourage somebody who is in COVID land to sort of do some online activism that that way. So yeah, I guess that's it. We'll go and we'll keep our fingers crossed that people watch it. And I will definitely be watching next week and supporting you from afar, from America, your COVID nation to the south.
Oh, yeah, stay safe out there in America with the COVID. Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, and take care. Take it easy, and good luck to you. The best of luck to you. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks.